I think you're supposed to snap at all stones opener in this deck. Super lucky here, actually, that hit the 1 and 3 to hit the king instead of hitting either of our stones we're about to draw. I think the absolute biggest miss about Deadpool's Diner is the fact that it is the most competitive mode Marvel Snap ever offers. And it's awkward when the only 3 ways to play the game in client are 3 different competitive modes. I think Marvel Snap has a problem of not having enough casual game modes. And that's why High Voltage was a really welcome addition to the client. Because High Voltage was a way to play that was truly casual. I saw someone else ask earlier about Glenn's comment on High Voltage saying that they felt it was too winner agnostic. I have mixed feelings about that, because I think the fact that it was kind of winner agnostic is one of the better things about it. Saying Second Dinner hated High Voltage is going to get you a ban in my channel, because what you're doing there is misrepresenting what was actually said for the sake of being mad. And people like you who are willing to misrepresent what was actually said for the sake of getting angry at Second Dinner are some of the worst freaking people I deal with on the internet. It happens to me personally all the time. People will take something I said out of context and warp it around so they can act pissed off at me. And it's incredibly frustrating when I see people do that to others. Inevitable. Yeah, what was actually said was they felt it was too winner agnostic and they wouldn't go that far in that direction again. Which is a very reasonable position to have. You can still have someone care slightly more about winning and still have it be pretty freaking casual. You know, like we're in a pretty good spot here. I've got Gore, I've got Thanos, I've got Kyera for next turn. Got the armor on the left. Gore's animation are so tops. They're so good. Yeah, and they know we have the 20 power Thanos. I was gonna put Kyera here and put Thanos in the center. One of the things that's incredibly frustrating to me about the discourse that happens in games around Marvel Snap, especially with the economy, is that whenever I post anything being fairly and levelly critical of the things that deserve to be criticized in the Marvel Snap economy, I have a ton of people who post comments and responses that are just not remotely based in reality. Good clean example of this. When I posted my video talking about the series drops problem that Marvel Snap definitely has, I've lost track of the number of comments on that video claiming that Marvel Snap cards cost $100 or are sold for $100 each. And that's just not true. Marvel Snap cards are expensive, and it's fair to criticize them for being expensive, but the actual price anchor for a Marvel Snap card is 50 USD at most for a card. And if you want to actually be reasonable, not all of them are $50. The last one is $50, the season pass one is $10, and the first one you get for free. So there's, as is often the case, a range of nuance into the discussion. Mobius turning off our Fastos to scout is big sad. Do I do this actually so I could misery and then draw next turn, I think is the play. Gosh, if we hadn't been Mobius, this draw would be so sweet. Just like average Marvel Snap experience. If there hadn't been a brutal tech card, I'd have gotten to do something interesting. Statistically, we would have had a bunch of free stones plus a gore this turn, yeah? Oh, I guess not, actually. Would have had one free stone. Let's never win the game. This is 16, 19, it's switching to 20 here. Do you think they ever compete in the center? Yes, I think the misrepresentation of they sell cards for $100 comes from the fact that, there are $100 bundles that have cards in them. Not the reality of what actually gets charged for them. I haven't done verdict videos for cards in a very long time because people don't click on or watch them. We have a verdict command, because that takes me 30 seconds. But put any other quick turnaround time verdict videos. There's a lot of work for something that basically loses me money once I was paying the editor.
Destiny will arrive.
Leveled, reasonable takes don't perform well on YouTube. Platform's a atrocious dumpster fire that only rewards sensationalism and bullshit. Absolutely despise it. It's actually funny, moving into doing some Pocket content and looking at different Pocket YouTube videos. Marvel Snap is actually incredibly tame in comparison to Pokemon. I like how I can sit here and I can say the words, the first card is free, the second one is $10, and the very last one is $50. And then someone can unironically comment in my chat, so cards in Marvel Snap cost the same as a AAA video game. Like, truly, you are some of the dumbest MFers on the planet. If you could hear me say that line and then come into my chat and type those freaking words. It's difficult for me to put into words how frustratingly stupid you are. I think playing Marvel Snap without locations is very silly, and the locations are a big part of what makes Marvel Snap good. I think Marvel Snap with no location variance would be very dry and sad. I also think, and I've talked about this at length before, I think the comparison of microtransactions in a game like Marvel Snap to a AAA game are intellectually dishonest at their core. What do I mean by that? Well, let's give an example. A lot of AAA games that I'll pay $70 for, I'll play for somewhere between 15 and 30 hours for their story. And then I'll be done playing them, and I'll never play them again. And that's okay. I feel like I got an okay amount of value out of my $70 purchase for 30 hours. But the same people who are fine spending $70 on a 30-hour experience balk at the idea of spending $70 on Marvel Snap, a game that they've put hundreds of hours into. And it's fine if you don't want to spend money on something you've spent hundreds of hours on in the literal sense. But the idea that it's a one-to-one comparison that's reasonable is intellectually dishonest. Especially when you consider the fact that there's probably a lot of games that you've bought on discounts that you've literally never freaking played in your life. Again, you should spend your money and time on things that bring you joy. And I'm not here to tell you you shouldn't like what you like, but let's be honest about what it is and what the comparisons are. The this is one-to-one and this costs money while ignoring the details. Oh, I should reality stone middle technically. Yeah, that's a good call. We win the raid by a little bit, yeah? Ah! Thanks, Tuba. Thanks, Tuba.
Victory.
He's only 13 here, chat. I don't know. Unironically, there were a bunch of people telling me they needed to nerf this card yesterday. And those are also some of the most frustrating people in existence. Card was out for 30 minutes, and we had a couple of screenshots of it being 20 power, and people were losing their ever-loving minds.
The universe shall be set right.
And that's the hard part, right? Like I was in Mogwai's stream the other day, and he was beating himself off, talking about how he was always critical of the Marvel Snap economy and how people were coming around and it was popular to bag on Marvel Snap and talk about how it had problems now. And it's like, bud, I've always been critical of the things that deserve to be critical. But also just, like, didn't needlessly complain about things that weren't true like you. He was what? I said what I said. You heard me. I was gonna leave. They're playing Aeroship. I'll be happier not playing this match.
Escaped.
I could fill the right and be cute, but I'd rather just not play against Aeroship. I'll be happier that way.
universe shall be set right.
Rewarded for playing time zone on one. Thank you, Piggy. It's a shame we can't misery the stone now. You know, my PS5, gaming PC, and Snap, I've spent more time and money on Snap. Yep. Yep. Whoo, that's a fun one. That's a fun one. We're hoping to draw some more stones here so we can, play them out. Rip. Yeah, I wanted to misery this turn, but I'm kind of out of hand space. Yeah, is the problem? It's a damn shame the Thanos got pegged, because I can't make him cheaper now with this, which would be really great. Am I getting rid of this? With the misery... With the misery, I think I actually want the extra turn. So. So, the reason why Second Dinner... It's very easy to be like, oh, Second Dinner should just give you infinite 8. Well, that's an insane reality stone for us. That one's less good, but... It's easy to be like, Second Dinner should just, like, give us perfect agency of cards, and you should be able to, like, get exactly the cards you want. But I think it's also important to acknowledge that, like, one of the things they're definitely concerned about is people becoming functionally complete. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you're only halfway through Series 3, but you have every single Series 3 card you could want, you no longer care about getting more Series 3 cards. And I think that's the big thing they're worried about having happen, is they very clearly want people chasing Series 3 stuff, so they don't want them to have all of them right away. It's not even strictly about monetization. It's about people's desire to log in and play. It's about human behavior. The catch-22 that these games have is that players simultaneously want to have all of the game pieces, while also simultaneously wanting to have meaningful things to play games to get. Is the kind of impossible... I think we're dead. They're playing our Pixie highlight from the other night, and I think their deck's just better than ours. I'm gonna be a fish and limp in. So there's this give and take where players say they want all of the cards, but also if you give them all of the cards, they play the game less. So you say you want this thing, but in reality, the way you behave says that giving you this thing that you say you want is actually bad for Second Dinner. Because if they give you the thing you want, you're going to play the game a whole lot less. Of course, supposed to leave, but I just want to see a game play out. Oh, I could have counted they had a D-Man. I could not have counted that they would have a Patriot.
Power must be controlled.
we have died. I should have put Power Stone in the middle to beat the demons we knew they had, but we would have lost anyways because they had a Hub Patriot. So I made a mistake, but even if we play that right, I'm 0% to win. Lord Miller Gaming, thank you for the 81-month resubscription. It's a long time. Welcome back.
Destiny will arrive.
Are they alive at the spotlight period? I actually don't know the answer to that question. Anybody in chat know? Do you think more ways to attain variants will help? I'm complete in pocket, but chasing full arts has kept me motivated. Chasing variant art doesn't do it for most people. They want meaningful, functional game pieces only. Is the reality. Snap does a very good job of loading up game pieces or variants. And players have consistently shown they largely don't care, and they're not worth nearly as much to them as actual game pieces are. $14 in the middle, not great, but not terrible. Love turns 3 and 4 to put cards there. We can win it realistically. Let's do this, yeah? And we're done.
Victory.
I mean, that's kind of my other point, too. What Thomas is saying in chat there is people are like, oh, they shouldn't monetize the cards are too expensive. But also, like, you're saying the cosmetics are too expensive, too. I don't think... I've literally never played a live service game where people weren't like, they shouldn't monetize game pieces, they should monetize cosmetics. But then when the company monetizes the cosmetics, the community's also like, oh, the cosmetics are too expensive. What people actually mean is they should monetize things I don't want to buy, and the things I do want to buy should be given to me for free. Do you think the unique card system is successful? I think from a game design standpoint, I absolutely love that Marvel Snap is singleton cards and there aren't bulk bad cards and they try to make every card matter. I think objectively, from a psychology player perspective, I think Marvel Snap's approach to cards is a failure. I think it's really apparent from the way people react that Marvel Snap having individual cards and not having chaff is worse from a perception problem than just putting a bunch of bad cards and giving people a bunch of bad cards. There is a reason why every other game has always filled booster packs full of garbage. And I wish it wasn't the case, but I think community perception around Marvel Snap would be better if they had a bunch of bad bulk cards in their packs like other card games do. And it makes me sad that that's the case. I wish that wasn't the case. But I would bet money that perception around Marvel Snap would be better if they just gave you a high number of cards. You wouldn't have the constant, cards are $50 each. It would be, no, cards would be cheap like they are in Pokemon Pocket, but most of them would be worthless and you wouldn't care about getting them. Yeah, exactly. No one's complaining about the unplayable cards in Pocket. They just accept that, like, unplayable cards is how the game works. Woo! Marvel Snap! One big purple fart!
Victory.
This is the way we play the game, play the game, play the game. Alright, I'm not feeling totally and completely embarrassed while playing this deck, so we're going to take an ad break, and then we're going to play some more of it when we return. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Don't go anywhere. And again, I'm gonna say this as someone who's really enjoying Pocket, and who's someone who thinks Pocket's economy is mostly fine. And when they implement trading, if they implement it right, it will be completely fine. But right now, Pokemon Pocket's economy, if you're unlucky, is ridiculously expensive. It takes 100 booster packs to craft a single EX Pokemon in Pokemon Pocket. And packs are $1 a piece. So, and you need 2 copies of almost every EX to play it. You need a play set. So if you brick on opening the EX you want, it'll take you $200 to buy 2 of them. And sure, you could say, well, just don't be unlucky. But there's gonna be people that are gonna be unlucky and they're not gonna open the cards they want. And then it's incredibly expensive to get the specific ones they want. And maybe trading's gonna implement in a way that's gonna make that not a big deal. But as of right now, yeah, it's like, but he made me huge eye roll when Mogwai was talking about snap cards being $50 a pop, when that's currently the case in Pocket. Like, you don't roll the EX you want, it costs you $100. And again, I don't think that means Pocket's unplayable or terrible or it needs to be burned to the ground or canceled or whatever, but it's just like, let's acknowledge that that's the reality there right now. If I was a gambling man, and I sit here playing Marvel Snap, so it's very clear I'm a gambling man, I would bet significant amounts of money that when I sit down 6 months to a year from now and we know what Pokemon Pocket's release cycle is going to look like, I will bet significant amounts of money it'll cost me more money to have collection complete in Pokemon Pocket on day 1 than it costs to be collection complete in Marvel Snap on day 1. And again, that's not to say that Marvel Snap is perfect or shouldn't improve. It's got issues. I've talked about its issues on the YouTube side very recently. But Marvel Snap's biggest issue is that it has a feels bad problem more than it has an actual price point problem. As someone who has spent thousands of dollars on more card games than I can count on one hand, approaching double digits, the number of digital card games I've spent $1,000+ on at this point. Marvel Snap in its current state is actually the literal cheapest to keep up with when it comes to being an endgame player. Virtual, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. As an easy off the cuff point of reference, because I played a ton of it for a long time. It cost me between $2,000 and $3,000 per year in Magic Arena just to get cards. It's for no cosmetics. Because again, I'm aware I've spent way more than that on Snap in cosmetics. And that was just to keep up. It was like $2 to $3 grand a year. And that was before they started releasing more stuff. Magic Arena actually releases more cards today than they were releasing back then, so the price is higher now. Oh, why are you not one bigger, Cassandra Nova? Although I guess if I shanked her now, she would come back in the valley, which wouldn't be good for me. But I do spend a lot on cosmetics this game. Marvel Snap is very good at monetizing cosmetics. They've done a good job of it. Ah, I should probably leave, but I want to stab a fish. Glub glub. My favorite gore pot. I really like the Pixie deck I highlighted yesterday. It's been my favorite so far. Okay, so when Shang reveals, the gore is bigger, yeah? And then I'm gonna have... I'm adding 4 to my gore up to 17. I'm going to 20 here. And they're losing. So I need them to play 1 on reveal for me to win this. I guess if well, obviously we shouldn't do it that way. I guess I should put the armor here so that way, if they don't play any on reveals, I still win. Shang makes score bigger, yeah. Before he tries to shake. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, so I'm gonna try and move on from the economy talk, because it is endless, and I think it gets tedious when it's endless, so we're playing some games here too. But it was really eye-roll inducing to me when I talked about Marvel Snap having a new player problem and a returning player problem. The comments on my video were simply half or more of the people were just like, but what about me, the endgame player? Why don't I get everything for free? And it's just, if you're someone who thinks Marvel Snap is ever going to give you every single card on release for free, you should stop playing and move on, because that's just never going to happen. They've been very clear that that is not a business model that will lead them to success. Which is why that was very much not what I suggested in my video talking about the problem with returning and new player experiences. Yeah, as a content creator who likes Marvel Snap, I talk about it because I want the game to be good. I don't want more stuff for cheaper for me. I want it to be easier for new people. I want someone to say, hey, Jeff, I like card games. Should I play Marvel Snap? I want my answer to be, yeah, Marvel Snap's sweet. You should play it. Not, Marvel Snap's kind of sweet, but it's miserable to get into. Maybe consider Pokemon Pocket. That's what I want. I want to feel good recommending the game to a friend. I want someone to ask me the question, hey Jeff, should I get into Marvel Snap? Is it good? And I want to be able to give them, say, yeah, it's good to get into it, this is how you get into it. But Pokemon Pocket is incredibly dull. Unironically, Marvel Snap players have no self-awareness and memory of history because literally every single comment like that, Pokemon Pocket is dull, are identical comments that egotistical, elitist, dickhead Magic players made about Marvel Snap when I first started playing Marvel Snap. It's fine to be like, subjectively, I don't like this, and the game doesn't generate gameplay I enjoy, and that's fine. Pokemon Pocket is a more traditional card game that is very different gameplay than Marvel Snap. And it's very reasonable and fine to enjoy Marvel Snap more. It's not a remotely unreasonable position to have. What is completely unreasonable is being like, no, it's worse. They're very different. Am I drawing with Black Swan this turn? I think I am. Or activate Black Swan so I can play my stones out next turn. You could play both, but you also it's fine to not enjoy both. The type of gameplay Pocket generates very different from Snap. And I think it's very reasonable to be like, yeah, I like Snap and Pocket just doesn't do it for me because it's different. There's nothing wrong with that. That the very tribalism, if I don't like thing objectively bad, as opposed to I don't like thing, it's for someone else, not me, is the thing that always gets me. You don't have to drop your pants and take a dump on it. It's not necessary. You tried Gore in Bounce yet? I haven't. I don't envision Gore solving problems that the Bounce deck has. And one of the big problems that Gore has in Bounce is that Gore is a 6-drop in Bounce that dies to Killmonger. Which I think is actually the biggest issue with it in Bounce. I really don't want to play a 6-drop in Bounce that loses to Killmonger. Mild Juice, thanks for the Prime. I appreciate that support. And for the regulars here, by the way, talking about enjoying Pocket and Snap, we're going to be back to doing Snap and Pocket daily here on stream, splitting our time about 50-50. My Isma plan. I was watching a video with Cozy and Alex, and they were crapping on the art of Pokemon cards. I think it's weird that they're defensive when people feel their beloved game is challenged or potentially outshined by another. Yeah. Very, very cringe. Like, I love the full art Pokemon cards. I think they look stellar. Do I snap them here? I think I'm supposed to snap them here and push the bomb out of the center, yeah, before they can fill left and right. This is a tactical snap for the purposes of getting rid of hydration, Robert, and moving him out. There's no way they can add stats to the center, right? Not 11. I think that is a great articulation of Snap. One of the big draws of Snap is locations. That each game feels different from the previous ones. That is exactly right. When you experience a game of Marvel Snap, there's a good chance you won't experience a game exactly like that for the next thousands of games that you play because of how the combination of location variance plays out.
Victory.
And in turn, the fact that Marvel Snap chooses to load a lot of its variants into its locations means that it's able for the decks to be very consistent. So when you build a deck and make choices in which cards go in your deck, they're going to happen very consistently. Yes, it's also why hot location days feel like a miss, because they're very same Z. Exactly that. I've talked about that. I think one of the biggest changes they should make is that Central Park, Savage Lands, and the Ninja location should all be less common. Space Stone lets me put Thanos into Sanctum, so I think I'm gonna stay further snappier. Yeah, Rude Mansion too. Rude Mansion, low key chat, Rude Mansion is one of the worst locations in Marvel Snap. It both puts crap in your hand and it puts crap. It both puts crap in your hand and puts crap on your board. Actual stone cold bratwurst location of the game. You haven't played Conquest in a bit. I assume it's because it's too saturated there, so that is exactly why. Do I do this? And then, like, Thanos here? Part of me wants to just Mockingbird here, and then Thanos, then we can end on Goliath is probably the play. Putting 2 cards here is bad if they acid arrow me. Wait, did they just misery their basic arrow?
All systems go.
Is Goliath mid good enough? This only puts me to 16 here is the problem. it's this. I think it's this.
Victory.
I think they have to play for the center every time, and then they can't beat our stats over on the right. We would have also won with Elias center there, is noteworthy. Elias mid would not have lost. It would have made Malekith not get a card.
Destiny will arrive.
Ah, yes. I mailed my Samsung Z Fold 4 in for repair, and I just got a message letting me know that it had been received, and I clicked on the service ticket number that was a hyperlink and was directed to a 404 not found page. I genuinely cannot believe Samsung Android devices are popular. It's my first one I have ever owned, and it will certainly be the last. Actually just an atrocious experience top to bottom. As someone who had only owned non-Samsung Android devices for the last 2 decades, I was always a little annoyed and frustrated at the bad rap Android gets in general. But holy, I understand the rap that Android has, given that Samsung is one of the most popular Android makers. Like, it makes complete and total sense. Guess I'm doing this, but I'm not gonna draw, which is sad. I did end up going with the OnePlus folding phone. It's been a very reasonable piece of hardware so far. If I do this, I can technically Mockingbird and Shag next turn, yeah.
Opponent snapped.
If you're supposed to leave, we're gonna not have priority, and they're gonna have some big buffed up cards. I'd have let them do their thing if they hadn't stabbed me, but I think we're likely to die here.
The universe shall be set right. You should always Reality Stone last, just in case it hits, like, Lamaria.
or something that could jack you up. Play Danger Room Savages this vulture. Thank you, Brood. Appreciate the assist.
Victory. Destiny will arrive.
No, as someone who's had a foldable for the last 2 years, 2+ years, I don't think I'll ever have a not foldable phone again. The form factor is super convenient. I'm really glad other people not Samsung are making them, because I also don't think I'll ever buy a Samsung again because the software on my Samsung foldable was atrocious. But none of my issues with my Z Fold were related to the actual hardware. Like Samsung's got a lot of bloatware. Yeah, it's not great. This, and then we'll Misery here on 5 is the plan. Why is this game mostly negative in Steam? Reddit is the answer to that question, yes. I think we're dead. Play center.
Power must be controlled.
Nah, they have Ebony Blade plus a cheap thing. And one more stone for the middle. Yes, Misery still triggers the unrevealed shows and blow them up. That's exactly correct.
The universe shall be set right.
Eitri's been good here. What's his name? Gore's been kind of mediocre. I feel like Gore's stat line hasn't been big enough to be worth playing in a lot of these games. was kind of hoping to draw a 1 energy stone that drew a card so he could misery the center. Recommended standing disc maker. Yeah, Flex a Spot is the one I've been using for the last couple of years. One of our stream partners. They're having a sale right now. Check them out on Amazon. Big torch, gamers. Big torch. Activate Mockingbird so we can play out any stones we draw next turn. You think they're bouncing the center here? I think standing desks are great for anybody that's spending a lot of time in their chair. I think we do this and then we just retreat when they beast or toxin or whatever the center. They ended on vulture, so maybe they're gonna pull this somewhere. And our Shang Brain can get us something profitable going. That's probably a win for us? Question mark.
Must be controlled.
Yeah, we're beating Heimdall. Tech cards, baby, tech cards, yeah. It's fine. King Eitri seems like he's an easy staple inside of Thanos moving forward. Lets you go ahead and basically have an extra infinity stone that fills out your spaces okay. Gore was pretty whelming. He had like a hulkish stat line a couple of times, but we were not consistently making him very large. Misery clearing our other, what's it called? Not stellar. Our stats overall with the deck were fine. I think the Thanos Misery core is reasonable and King added value. Alliance and Shang-Chi are very good push busted Marvel step cards that are get you a lot of wins regardless of what everything else looks like, so you know. Let's roll some Twitch ads. I'm gonna dig through some untapped stats on Gore and look for another deck to play. We've been doing Marvel Step for a little while yet this morning before we switch on over to Pocket. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Don't go anywhere.